Hey, Noobert here, and did you miss the series where we talk about VE stuff? Yes? No? Maybe? Lobster? Hey, anyway, time to talk about mechanical changes, those vanilla expanded mods that alter gameplay in big and small ways. So hopefully next time you make a new colony, you might have some new ways to play and enjoy the Rim, baby. Alrighty. Let's get into it. Starting off, we have Vanilla Expanded events. As the name implies, it adds more Rimworld events to help or hinder you. Some notable ones include, but aren't limited to, crash shuttles with multiple survivors landing needing help, a meteor shower that may or may not land, or important things on your colony, random passerbys who want to join you and then turn out to be a traitor, and you curse Oscar and his team for making this one event.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
Oh yeah, that last one people really don't like, but don't fret. This mod comes with awesome options. You can go to the mod options and alter event chance, percentage, or just straight up bring them to 0 to never happen. This also works with other mods that add events, which is a nice bonus. Though some events you might want to keep low would be the unique purple events. These are huge worldwide events that last a long time and can alter play. You have global warming, which actually changes biomes to hotter ones in some cases. Do note you need to save and reload to see the new changes. Conversely, there is the Ice Age, reducing the temperatures and causing changes to biomes with the new amount of snow and ice. Psychic rain coming down can be a problem for some colonies, as any living thing out in the rain ages by 200%. Ooh, imagine that hitting your grandma. Psychic bloom isn't as bad as the others. In fact, pawns going outside will feel a sense of joy, as nature is filled with plants and flowers, including your own crops. Yeah. Be grateful hydroponics aren't affected by the blooming. Finally, the long night. During this time, you are under darkness, like an eclipse, but also causes more raids, as many groups are taking advantage of the darkness, or at the very least, so scared they kind of snap under the pressure, if that makes any sense. And these are just some of the many events that show up on the Rim with this mod. Honestly, it is always useful for me, if only for the ability to alter event probability for my games, because you know, like RNG. Knowledge is power. That's a phrase many of us can agree upon. And out on the Rim, it's also a joy option. Yes, books can be found on the Rim and be a useful part of any colony. To obtain books, you can either make them or find them from traders. Making books actually is simple. Get a writing or typewriting table and have a smart pawn working on books. The better the intelligence of a pawn, the faster the book will be made. However, if you want high quality books, make sure that pawn also can provide good skill in whatever you are writing. What do I mean by this? Well, the books you make aren't just for entertainment, they are educational. Pawns who read books get experience relating to the subject. Get a book on cooking, the pawn learns a few new recipes and improves their skill. Same with shooting, animal handling, or any other skills you have access to. This is also important to get the best out of learning, as higher quality books give out more experience and can teach pawns up to higher levels, with legendary going all the way to level 20. There are, however, more types of reading material. If you have ideology, you can get and make ideology books. Reading them will influence a pawn's thoughts on whatever ideology is based on. A very great way for converting things, yes. Then there are newspapers. Their purpose is to entertain pawns. They are quick to make, and after 24 hours, they turn into filth to be cleaned up. Finally, treasure maps and blueprints. These are found only in traders' stock, and for good reason. Treasure maps, when read, unlock a quest location right on the map for you to explore, so hey, more loot and more fun. Blueprints, meanwhile, give out research information as if you just researched, though keep in mind you have to be able to actually learn the research still. While a bit limiting, it can still be useful to any colony to suddenly be able to know a research without wasting the time to actually stop and research it. All in all, books are great, and having another joy source is always nice and helpful in the colony. Now, one complaint Rimworld gets sometimes is the lack of Steam achievements. To be honest, I can see why. My writer Bren is an achievement hunter, and he and many people like him enjoy seeing past work and those badges of their progress. But with a game like Rimworld, what achievements would it get? Well, while we don't have official achievements, Oscar and his team have us covered with vanilla expanded achievements. As the name implies, it adds a list of achievements you can achieve in-game. Things as minor as get your first raid to as dangerous as slaying 20 thrumbos in your playthrough. Ooh. But don't think it's just a bunch of achievements that don't do anything. No. When you get an achievement, you get achievement points. Get enough and you can trigger multiple rewards, like triggering a raid right from the get-go. Perfect if you need some human meat or prisoners. Perhaps a random quest reward just drops down, or heck, just summon a man in black to join you because you want an extra hand. Finally, the best part. This mod is compatible with a lot of other mods. The Alpha series of mods usually have achievements related to them, but many other mods by other great modders take the time to include achievement support. I love this. It makes going through some mods more fun since, hey, maybe you want to complete all achievements and see everything that mod provides. Plus, I love all the in-jokes and memes and some of the achievements have, you know? It's fun stuff. Gotta love it. Yes, gotta, just gotta. Traits Expanded actually was one of our earliest vanilla expanded videos we did. It also was Bren's earlier works. He still admits to it not being his best work. You know, to be fair, Bren, if you're watching this, you do fine always. You know, we're a team. But anyways, we will still agree on one thing from the video. VE Traits is a useful mod for improving your pawns. Alright, so we got that. As implied, it provides the game more traits for your pawns to show up with. From basic skill boosts like Tycoon for upping crafting, and Social and Ecologist for animals and growing, to traits that give your pawns big flaws like kleptomaniacs or being lushes and stoners, so they have permanent addictions to beer and smoke leaf, perhaps one that makes you rethink how you control them. Rebel makes it so forcing a task has them do it slower, vice versa. The submissive wants forced orders and will otherwise do jobs at a slower rate on their own. This is just some of the many traits you have access to. Though some of my favorites for use have to be stuff like Perfectionist. It may slow a pawn down when doing tasks, but they get a +1 to the quality of a finished product. Just make sure they can do a good product. Otherwise, they get upset for subpar work. Animal Lover is a personal favorite. As a proud owner of a doggo, I can relate to loving animals. We don't talk about the opposing animal haters who love it when animals die. No, we don't talk about them. We also don't like to talk about technophobes who refuse to research about medieval technology, and then they have a habit of going full tantrum to break tech above medieval grade. My word. Now, what I do like to talk about is the Drunken Master trait, which I myself have upping melee skill and upping melee damage the drunker I am. I like to recreate that one Jackie Chan movie. But for real, this mod is great, and like events, if you see any traits you don't like, go into options and disable any traits you don't want to spawn in the game. Again, I always appreciate options. One of the more important things in Rimworld is the social interaction between pawns. After all, they are gonna have to live together or, you know, die together. Either way, good storytelling. In comes vanilla expanded social interactions to expand upon this part of the game, and they are actually good improvements. That's hard to live without. First up, the changes to inspiration. Now, pawns get new types of inspiration, things like planting a number of plants, perhaps attending a party, or even defeating an enemy in combat. If that was all, I'd call it there, but there is a bit more to inspirations now. Namely, you need to actually pay attention to them. If a pawn gets their inspiration fulfilled, they get a mood buff. Failing their inspiration, a minor mood debuff. Minor may not seem like much, but remember, higher difficulties mean even a -2 debuff can throw everything out of whack. We have friend and best friend mechanics. If two pawns have 50 opinion of each other, they are considered friends and can vent to one another. But 80 and above, now you get best friends. It acts kinda like two lovers. They have mood buffs based on opinions of each other, and they can only have one best friend. Yes, that's right. friends can be lovers. Other mechanics that come into play is teaching pawns during normal chit-chat will sometimes share their wisdom, giving both pawns experience. It's not much, but it adds up. Same with many hands working together. If you put pawns on similar projects in the same room, their global work speed goes up. So think of your crafting workshops all working as one, or a full kitchen full of cooks. Do keep in mind this can backfire if pawns have a low mood and opinion of each other. They might cause a discord and make a group social fight, make it a problem for everyone involved. Let me tell you, it's not fun. Dating is also a new mechanic. Pawns who will like each other but not considered lovers can go on dates. These range from building snowmen together, stargazing, or my favorite, the romantic dinner, Lady and the Tramp style, if possible. Honestly, it's very sweet, like when my virtual people do cute things together, though sometimes pawns can engage in one-night stands. It's rare, but hey, sometimes you need some loving out on the rim. If this happens, they get the got lovin' mood buff and 20 opinion of each other. Always helpful for mood buffs. Though, hey, plenty of other group activities that can be done, like birthday parties, funerals, binge parties, or just, grabbing a beer with the boys. Yeah, kinda escalates at times out on the rim. Same with raiding, though. There is now a small change to raids, namely the loss. If you lose a raid, your pawns get mood buffs or debuffs based on their traits. For example, pessimistic pawns will feel worse and get a small debuff, but pawns with optimistic traits or ones to make them determined get a mood buff. Also, no mental breaks for 3 days and a 5% global work speed buff. Guess a way to let you rebuild and pick up the pieces. Really do like this mod, improving the social life of pawns out on the rim. Highly recommended and feels very vanilla. That sometimes I forget some of the mechanics aren't in the base game at times. And that's more than at times, that's oftentimes. I can't remember what's mod and what's not mod. Anyways, now it's time to talk about the big one. The big important mod for many playthroughs. Well, that is if you have the Ideology DLC installed, which I'm sure most of you do since it's a great mod, but sometimes you don't. Ideology Expanded means and structures does what you think it does. Includes a variety of memes and structure types to give you more options out on the rim. Some are always useful or great. Others are more situational or meant to be used for challenge or roleplay runs, which, hey, said it before, say it again, options are good. Now, normally I'd have my writer put down for me literally every meme and structure this mod adds, but I think he might get a mental break, so we won't do that. So instead, let's talk about more of the interesting memes you have access to. First, for those of us who have that inner child inside that can only be silenced by chocolate, we got the Sweet Tooth Ideology, requiring Vanilla Expanded, Cooking Expanded. Your colony lives for the confectionery treats cooking provides. Plus, chocolate. Lots and lots of chocolate. Good thing we now have chocolate bushes to plant, and that VE cooking took away the problem that eating too many sweets provide. You know the one. Fishing is another meme that requires another mod. If you don't know what mod the fishing meme needs, then don't know how to help you. Fishing has pawns get more out of fishing, both in catches and recreation, in exchange for no ranching. Though you do have more memes provided, fishing traps and tackle boxes for more fishing goodness. Violence is power in the blood court. Hope you got a good lawyer, cause if not, you are gonna have to be the best fighter to be the leader. Scars are beloved. Death is inevitable. Oh, and leaving the ideology with this isn't an option. There is some other rules, but I already broke the first one talking about this meme. With this next meme, party like it's the 80s and 90s. Get drunk, get wild, and have a pawn be the party host with the party life meme. As implied, it's all about partying and enjoying life to its fullest. I recommend the Disco Floor mod for added classic vibes. Suppose I have to mention this next meme or I'll be raided under grounds of heresy. The God Emperor meme makes your chosen leader now the god in their eyes. The higher the leader's will, the better the subjects see them. Also, leader's mood will be plus 30, so highly doubt they will have a tantrum. Go into munitions stockpile and pick a fight with a nuke, which oddly enough is how a lot of colonies on the rim go down. We have proof. Craft culture is my writer's favorite meme, and for good reason. It ups the quality of the crafted item, meaning if your pawn can consistently hit higher quality items when crafted, you potentially can have a colony of legendary items. Now sure, crafting and skilled labor speed is slowed down, but it's worth it when you are wearing the best stuff on the rim. Also, the leader is the best crafter, which is good to know. Finally, let's talk about trading. As The Simpsons taught us, money can in fact be used for goods and services, so why not take advantage of that with the trader meme? Your pawns live for the deal, and can even host trading fairs, or have the new merchant role summon a single trader to get more and more deals. Just know your pawns expect good stuff, so keep ordering luxury or you may have a riot on your hands. For real great mod, all in general, the many memes add more replayability, and I only scratched the surface. Please check this mod out if you are planning roleplay builds. We aren't done with memes, though. Vanilla Expanded has add-ons to go with them, like the icons and symbols. Pretty straightforward. A list of totally not referencing other media icons and symbols for whatever colony you want. Always good to have it if you want that one symbol to represent you, or maybe roleplay certain factions. Who knows what you want to do? You guys all do crazy things. Next, we have the same with the relics and the artifacts. We got more than just some mysterious cube as our artifacts. We can now have more stuff, like skulls, heads of robots, a blanket that I'm pretty sure Linus is looking for. Okay, for real, these are pretty cool, adding more variety for role-playing, but that's not all the mod does. It's added a proper search bar to let you select whatever you want when setting everything up. Also added a function to make clothing and armor relic, not just weaponry, something I feel the base game kind of overlooked, but hey, just having a search bar makes things so much easier, and sometimes that's all you need in a mod. Then we got hats and rags, which adds, well, hats and rags. Thankfully not hats and rats and hags, but you know, it would be perfect for Halloween, wouldn't it? With ideologies, you have the option to set up uniforms for rules or just in general. The problem is that the base game doesn't include much in the way of options if you wanted more beyond burqas and head wraps. This mod not only patches in Vanilla Expanded clothing, but added their own clothing. Some highlights include the Pope hat, the fez, the horse head mask. Okay, seriously, real talk. That is nightmare fuel, and it's only attached to the High Life meme. You can now have a colony toking the horse-headed psychopaths on the rim. Perfect. Do recommend this mod, if only for variety, and again, nightmare fuel, but more likely for your enemies, yeah. Now, this next mod is all about dividing and conquering your colony, metaphorically. That is, it splits and schisms, alters how ideology works. Yes, indeedy. Basically, over time, some people will move to a similar ideology to the one you have. You know, say I have an ideology about caring for animals, but my writer here has an ideology about caring for animals, but also about reading books about animals. People might decide to shift over. Given enough time, the colony will have two ideologies, and eventually one side will recruit enough of the other to basically eliminate the old one. While not exactly my cup of tea, it is a cool mechanic if you want to roleplay a colony evolving their beliefs on their own. And honestly, I do think it's a really cool mechanic that more people should try to use, but I know how people like to keep their ideologies exactly as they are. I think it's fun to suddenly find out that all your pawns hate it when you imprison all of the raiders so suddenly. Maybe that's just me though. I like the antics. I don't know. Random side notes from Noobert. For a smaller mod, tweaked the ideology, the anime theme mod is a bright green coat of paint over the Gorelians and Dryads of ideology. Seriously, looks awesome if you want to go the nature-loving style, but don't want to have two different magic trees out on the rim. I think the redesigns of the Dryads to be more anima-like looks great, and altogether a nice little package. But hey, this package could use a bow. Vanilla Expanded ideology Dryads includes what else? Washing machines. No, wait, wrong script. Oh, right, Dryads. You can mix this mod with the anima theme, or just go regular. Looking, but what new plant friends can you get? Well, technically 4. Those being a little guy who can harvest stone chunks, make ambrosia, shoot acid, and make a new plant like wool. Ooh. Now, I say technically because there is a new mechanic awakening. If you have 3 of a single Dryad type, like say 3 carriers, you can select all 3 and hit awaken to create a more powerful Dryad. This one will have better skills than the original, and more importantly, be unshackled from the mother tree. That's right. Now, it doesn't count against any limits, and you can bring it on caravan trips. But there is one huge Caveat: unshackling a Dryad causes a few problems down the road. Eventually they will develop a separation sickness and it can be slowed down by medicine, but that's it. Takes about 2 years, but you will lose unshackled Dryads, so please keep that in mind. It is sad to watch them go. Outpost Expanded is next, and it can turn your game into more of a civilization simulator than it already can be, and that's saying something. How does it work? Pretty well, all things considered. All you have to do is send colonists to a spot on the map, tell them to make an outpost, and boom, a way to get supplies over time. Alright, it's not as simple as that. There are a couple of factors. First off, you obviously lose the colonists from being in your main colony when they make an outpost, so I recommend recruiting sprees for filling up outposts. Second, you can't make an outpost with one person. You need a good number to have it run it, usually 4. Finally, not all outposts can be made with nilly. You might need specialized skills. For example, farms need a minimum of 10 planting skills to start up, and the higher the total of planting, the more crops you get. But other than that, you have nothing to worry about. Well, there's the neighbors. Yes, having outposts means you have the threat of raids on your land. When this happens, you move to their perspective and have to have them defend your home. Yeah, they gotta defend their home too. It's their turn. Good news! The mod options actually can disable outpost raids if you prefer that. Just thought I'd say that. So what outposts do you have access to? Well, let's put it this way. Personally, farming and mining is a good standard. You always can use food, and because without mods, my bad, minerals are a limited resource on a single map, so you can use mining outposts to keep stock of more valuable materials, but like, for example, Bren loves fishing outposts that you can use if you have the V fishing mod. You get lots of meat and sometimes fishing treasure included for good measure, stuff like that, but like for me, I like artillery outposts. They're super useful support units, being able to call on a bombardment once per day, within the regional area, so it's really good once the wars kick off. And then finally, you got the manufacturing can be invaluable, as they can provide a supply of components, advanced or otherwise. This is an extremely useful mod for a more balanced way of getting supplies, but hey, you got mod options. Why not make it crazy and drop new supplies every day, pretend it's Christmas every day, and then realize Randy is Krampus and can and will make you pay for your sins. Wonderful stuff. And as we established previously, money can be used for goods and services, though Rimworld's economy as a whole isn't the most realistic. VE trading is here to fix that a bit. First up, you gotta now deal with supply and demand. If you don't know what that means, Economics 101 dictates that the more a product is in demand, the more valuable it is, but supply also dictates value. After all, a one-of-a-kind trading card is gonna have more value than a common vendor trash. What this means for Rimworld is that settlements can have shifts in their situation to alter their supplies and demands. Using the news screen, you can catch up on some news, like if a settlement is preparing for war, get medicine and weaponry to them. They are gonna need it. Perhaps they had a bumper crop and their market is flooded with produce. Buy it cheap and sell that to another settlement who had a famine. Yes. Though this also means that you can affect the marketplace. Flood the economy with a bunch of legally produced organs or procured organs or however you got them, there's ways. And you might find traders putting extremely low value on them. Anyways, if you want to know how the prices are changing once you hit microelectronics, you can make the new trading terminal. Instead, you got the ability to see the price changes amongst other things like bank accounts. Yeah, that's right, you can now hold all your silver in a bank account. The two factions that can hold them are Outlanders, or if you have Royalty DLC, the Empire. Though keep in mind, depositing and withdrawing silver has a fee attached based on your relationship. Full alliance means no fee. So why hold your money in the bank? Well, given it's not your base, it actually cuts your wealth down far as the game is concerned. That means less dangerous raids, and of course, you can go for a loan. Just remember to pay it back or you take a faction hit. Don't recommend doing it unless you like losing your thumbs, or if you have that one item you really need to get now. The stock market is another new mechanic letting you buy and sell shares that can be affected by the ongoing news. Remember, the adage, buy low, sell high, and of course the don't play the stock market unless you're willing to lose it all, you know, that thing. While not something I would recommend, it could be fun to try and do this part of the mod, and plus, your portfolio doesn't count towards wealth. Though I admit the idea of a raider shanking me for my stocks is kind of funny. Finally, contracts. These are really fun. You can fulfill contracts people put out for extra money, ranging from material, weapons, and armor, or other items. Taking them will always provide a huge markup in profits due to the nature of people wanting them fast and hard. Plus, the money can be directly deposited into your bank account. However, you too have the ability to call for a contract. This is extremely useful. Want to find a certain animal to worship? Hire some people to get that beast? Maybe a certain material for crafting? You can do that. Perhaps a person to fight for you. Sorry, no, not this mod. Try another. However, should mention that while you can set the markup percentage for how much you are willing to pay, remember, the higher the percentage, the more likely people will actually fulfill the contract. I recommend around 200 to 400% markup if you really want something. All in all, a great mod for expanding the trading mechanics, plus being able to call for items in a balanced way is a plus. So, this next one is an awesome mod that you install and never worry about. Vanilla Expanded Base Generation. As it says on the tin, it's all about base generation, namely, bases you visit. Now, instead of the samey base design, the bases you visit actually change based on era of technology, or who they are. Like tribal bases will have smaller hut designs with larger fields for their crops. Regular Outlander bases are pirates looking more like proper dwellings and with defenses in natural places. And the Empire, the Empire looking like a real colony here. A straightforward mod that adds to the value of raiding, as the bases will actually have more value included into their designs. Plus, if you have VE props, you will see them used in the designs, making them feel more realistic, you know, before you burn it all to the ground. Vanilla Skills Expanded is the mod for when you want your colonists to be even better at what they do. Yeah, at first you might think this is add new skills. Instead, adding enhancements to already in the game skills. These expertises can be unlocked when a pawn hits 15 in a skill they have a passion in, and unless you use the mod options to change it, only one expertise is per pawn, so choose wisely. With these expertises, a pawn gets a little bonus that scales with the level of expertises. Sharpshooting is a natural pick if you have a pawn specializing in sniping. Being able to always hit a target accurately can make or break a bad situation if you ask me. Taming for animals is also very useful, as it ups the chance of success on top of reducing manhunter chance. Given how many times we all know of a botched taming attempt, ending poor Jimmy, I can't recommend this one faster. If you have a devoted constructor, Architect is a must-have, as it ups the quality of the construction and reduces botched chances. Just being able to make high-quality stuff is a must for joy. For medical pawns in the endgame, Surgery, just being able to improve chances of success and not accidentally lopping someone's head off is a must. And you kinda see where I'm going, and even the expertises of skills I mentioned that were brought up have their own value. Being able to specialize pawns in certain fields is a good idea, leading to a slightly more efficient colony. Though, before we move on, the mod does include 3 new passion types for skills. Natural, which means the pawn is naturally skilled at whatever skill they have this passion in, upping learning by 200%, but due to not participating as much, a forgetting loss of 300%. Critical passions are for pawns who obsess over this skill. They will get a 300% boost in learning, a 0% forget rate, but a 25% learning rate for other skills. Needless to say, if you have a critical passion pawn, try and put them on jobs relating to that skill. Finally, apathy. The anti-passion, a pawn apathetic to a skill will learn it at a 25% learning rate and 125% forgetting rate. Yeah, I think we've all been here. Backstories is a pretty cool download and forget type mod. All it does is add a variety of backstories, over 150, ranging from cult leaders, addicted gamers, farmers, former military, or even corrupt politicians. Not really much to say, just download and see the variety of backstories your pawns could have. So, a while back, we talked about the Vanilla Expanded sidecasting, and after that video went live, heck, during production of the video, a new sidecast came out, meant to link to the Sanguiphage, Sonaphage, Your colony vampires will have ultimate power. Not quite as powerful as that, but it's up there. The Hemosage sidecasting tree focusing on using Herimogen as a fuel. Naturally, sanguiphages with this mod can also death rest as a meditation focus. Because, hey, chilling in a coffin is comforting to the mind. As for the moves, you got stuff like launching blood crystals at opponents at range, draining targets of their blood from range while not as efficient. It can be nice to top off, you know, some of the stores of your blood as you drain it from them at a distance, sucking their blood away. Closing wounds with your blood through, technically, it just stops the bleeding effect. Not actually healing, good for battlefield tending though, you know, so you don't pass out. My favorite is the Rain of Blood, which makes non-hemogen people get sick and vomit, with your hemogen needing people getting a regen buff to their supplies. Highly recommended against large raids when your colonists can stay undercover. It's really just disgusting and it's wonderful. It's a good mod, plenty of fun thematic options while keeping the vanilla balance. Moving on to the next one. Puppeteer is the other Psycast add-on, and this one has more of a focus on being the master of many. This is a rare Psycasting tree only obtained by a pawn with an Imperial backstory, so if you want a non-Imperial to get it, either cheat or find a Puppeteer Neurotrainer. The focus here is the Brain Leech Psi power, linking the victim to the caster and upping their stats. It's not the best as it only lasts around 2 days before disappearing, but say you cast this and something else. If you cast Puppet, now you can go full Bakuka and control the mind of your victim. Basically, you rewrite their personality to match the casters, in a way achieving a sort of immortality. From there, you can do multiple things like casting Psycast to summon your puppets to you. Great if you are suddenly ambushed. Perhaps destroy the puppet and use their very being for experience. Or my favorite, find a powerful body and swap places with them. This Psycast, in my opinion, isn't good on its own, but when combined with other Psycaster builds, can enhance a character, turning them from a caster into a full ascended mage. Easy to understand, hard to master, but when it works, oh man is it fun. Okay, time to get the big one in here. Yep, you guys know it. We all know it. Vanilla Vehicles Expanded. The huge one. The one that literally took years to create, and it was worth the wait. Now we finally have ways to move from place to place in comfort, in style, or you know, make tanks and blow up enemies that way. So how do you get started with this mod? First, research basic vehicles and get yourself the always important garage bench. From here, make the different parts for vehicles, stuff like engine blocks, wheels, batteries, and so on. From there, it's just picking out whatever vehicle you want and making them. After you make your new vehicle, just tell a pawn to get in and draft the vehicle to move it. From there, you may notice it's not the fast at first. That's acceleration at work. A vehicle won't go at top speed at first. That means planning your moves with this in mind. Keep this in mind when wanting to stop. If you undraft or handbrake while it's going full speed, you can do a hard stop, but as any vehicle owner may tell you, not very good for the tires. You might have to do some repairs when they get back to the lot. Before you ask, yes, you can run people over. Yes, it will damage your vehicle a bit, but not as much as the poor pawn who hits your fender. Other things to pay attention to are vehicle tiers. They each have their own strengths and weaknesses. First is Tier 1. These are your cheap to make but not the most sturdy vehicles on the lot. You got buggies, simple trucks and vans, and even a dinghy. Did I mention that this mod includes boats? That's right, if you make a vehicle on the water, you can use it to leave island bases. There are also flying vehicles like the Tier 1 Frog, basically a reusable drop pod. Both of these are great for earlier travel in harder to live in areas. Tier 1 does actually have combative vehicles like smaller tanks, trucks with jury-rigged mini turrets, and even the Bunsen, a flamethrower mounted car that would make the pyro happy. Like turrets, you have to refill all vehicles with fuel, and if they have weapons, ammo. Moving on to Tier 2, these are the baseline vehicles. Think of them less like Mad Max and more like Max from Accounting Station Wagon. They take longer to build and take more specialized research, but it's worth it for the value. With these, a late base will find value in them for transport or defense, especially with the tanks. Always fun. Always fun. But what about Tier 3 and 4? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, still more video to get through. Yeah, still got more to talk about with this base mod, namely fashion. The end game of all games, fashion, people. You can decorate your vehicles to your heart's content. Go nuts, be creative, make the raiders fear the gaudy paint job, styled tanks as they come for your cord. The other important factor is ideology memes. Yeah, that's right, if you have ideology, you got more memes. Bet you thought we stopped earlier in the video. Nope, but these ones are easy to understand. All of them are based on different traveling philosophies. Skyseekers want open space and to always fly in the sky. Nauticals can handle more extreme temperatures and want to sail the open seas. Road Ragers want to run the many highways and can go faster and repair better. Finally, the Travelers just want to travel. They don't mind rough living and approve of all forms of travel. Great for nomadic colonies. Alright, now let's talk about Tier 3. Tier 3 actually came out during the writing process, and this module adds the next level of vehicles. These ones are superior to Tier 2, obviously, but the methods to actually getting them are a bit trickier. With this mod installed, now you may find on any map a single wreck of one of the 3 tier vehicles. Should mention this is any generated map, but generated maps on road tiles do spawn more. From there, you need to select it, hit repair, and then give it whatever parts you need to fix it. After you fix it, you can get the vehicle and can build the vehicle after hitting the research category. While tedious, I rather like this way to get more rare or specialized vehicles. Makes you feel like a grease monkey turning up old cars. And some of these are very valuable. You got better cars and trucks, of course, but some of my favorites are the refrigerated trucks. That's right, it's refrigerated, which means you can transport perishables from long distances. The catch, though, is that it uses up more fuel, and before you ask, yes, you store things in the truck, even without a driver, and keep it chill, but it will still eat up fuel. So keep it in mind. You need a lot of fuel. Other good choices is the UDA, literal mobile artillery, perfect for aiding raids or punishing groups of opponents. But hey, for the Louis helicopter is great for transporting colonists for raids. Fast, spacious, and stylish. I definitely approve of this vehicle in my lot. All in all, the vehicles here look great and play well. Certainly good for supporting a colony, and the best part is that they are working on more modules, including ways to even more of them, like fishing from boats, raiders coming in with their own vehicles, which is going to be insane. Being able to upgrade your vehicles to be the best of their kind, which is going to be nuts. I'm excited for all of it. I, for one, can't wait, especially for Tier 4 and the War Walker update, which is going to be nuts. Especially the last one, for one good reason. But anyways, it's nuts. I'm crazy about it. It's going to be a great time. But yeah, that's all the vanilla expanded mechanics mods so far. I mean, come on. As we work, so does Oscar, and they keep putting out good stuff. I just hope all these helped you out in figuring out what mods you could include in your next playthrough, how they work, and maybe made you laugh along the way. There's one last important bit. I'd like to thank all the Patreons and channel members and donators of all kinds that make this content possible. I'd like to ask anybody that's watching this video, consider donating to our channel. For $12 a year, you get all of our videos ad-free. So consider heading over to Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next one.